Right, now it's time for this week's guest, and we've got a YouTube superstar in James Bruton.
James, welcome to the mate.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All the noises. Thank you for coming in.
Well, maybe I should do that in my channel.
You need that.
Or not.
Popular. Yeah.
You don't need any. You don't need to take any tips from us, my friend.
James, you've got over 1 million
You're doing
followers
great
on YouTube. Amazing channel. You're known for your robots, but I want to go back a little bit
Yes.
to your days of IT and toys. Just take us through the journey on how you've got to where you are now.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I started doing, as an adult, building robots in about 2004. And that's before YouTube. So
yeah, that's when we started the Gadget Show, 2004,
yeah,
so
right,
20
okay.
years ago.
I was looking for a website about how to build human-sized bipedal robots easily, but I couldn't find one. So I decided that I'd make that website and I'd work out what to do. And so I was sort of like cutting up wood and things. This is before you could get cheap stuff from China on eBay and AliExpress and all this. So I think eBay was probably around, but you know, it's mostly wood from Wix and skateboard wheel bearings and electric drill motors. And I sort of thought at the time, it'd be really good if I didn't have to spend all this money, if it could somehow fund itself. So I started doing this blog on xrobots.co.uk that's still kind of there now. So I was building robots and doing all sorts of things, and then the movie Iron Man came out in 2008. I decided that actually I'd like to do a cosplay, because this is before everyone had published CAD and everyone had 3D printers and you could just download and print it. So I decided I'd build an Iron Man cosplay, because hardly anyone had one. And in those days it was sculpting clay and making molds and all those sorts of things. And I started putting this on YouTube, and that's pretty much where the first 50,000 subscribers came from. Because Iron Man was massively popular, big piece of pop culture, and no one else was really doing it. So I worked in IT for many, many years, since I finished university in 1997, different times in the IT industry, as you'd imagine. And I had one job for Aon Corporation, the Man U sponsor, like Wayne Rooney with AON on his shirt, big insurance company. I worked there for 10 years. It was actually another company that got bought out, but 10 years doing server support and data center stuff. And in that 10 years, YouTube came along, basically, and I started putting this stuff on YouTube, and also 3D printing became more accessible.
Yeah.
RepRap project came out of Bath University in 2003, so I remember reading the early blog posts about them, you know, homebrewing this 3D printer that could make parts for itself, and things like Arduino and Raspberry Pi, and then, you know, a lot of Chinese sellers selling lots of stuff, electronic modules, lots of open source libraries, companies like Adafruit and SparkFun Electronics. All this stuff came along pretty much in those 10 years I was there. Yeah. 2004 to about 2015, something like that. And then a toy company found my YouTube channel and recruited me to go and work there doing prototyping. And that was Blades Toys in Portsmouth.
Oh, yeah, I've seen you talk about this on your YouTube channel.
So they're 28% owned by Peter Jones from Dragon's Den, so it's one of his best startup investments from another TV series he did called Tycoon in 2007. So it's basically Blades Toys and Reggae Reggae Sauce are the two successful startups that most people have seen on the telly.
Yeah.
So I did that for a few years, and I slowly dropped days to 2 days a week, and then went full-time on YouTube in 2019. So it's been,
you know what's interesting
5
to me?
years or something.
Right.
Is your journey, which you describe in terms of technological innovations, that's very interesting. I've never viewed the Gadget Show in that way. And on that same timeline, like, you know, Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and all those innovations that make a culture, that suddenly became a thing from about 2004, just as you put it. That's why our show evolved with our own homemade gadgets that we did, or the kind of you know, bonkers stuff that Grant and James were doing, the guys that used to help us with the builds. We were following the same trajectory as you. I've never really thought about that before. And
it's like the stars aligned, really, wasn't it, for your YouTube channel? But how would you describe yourself now then? IT engineer, I mean, and also why robots?
I'm full-time on YouTube, so that's my job now.
Yeah. So YouTuber is the way you would describe yourself?
Yeah, and I mean, I spent years since I first started doing that website in 2004, saying like, how am I going to make this pay for itself? Thinking how, you know, I try and basically not to work for another company and do something for myself, doing what I want.
Yeah, and what is it about robots for you?
It's not necessarily all robots. Some of the things are vehicles, but they still have the same type of control systems.
Yeah, there
it's
is a
because I know
crossover
about
there.
engineering. I'm not going to start a cookery channel, basically. You know,
Yeah.
so it's what I enjoy doing, and that's why I do what I enjoy as much as I can.
The reason I really like your YouTube channel, aside from your delivery, which I just like, I love the way you. I mean, when I said I recognise your voice, I was being serious because I've watched a lot of your content.
Well, you put a lot of humour into it as well,
Yeah.
don't you? Which
Yeah.
is nice.
Oh, really? I'm not sure about that. Not as much as some people, but
Yeah, it's your humour is very well
It's not.
pitched.
Let's put it like
it
this.
might be
It's not
like an
forced.
English thing that no one else gets. Then
No, there's an irony to what you do that I'm with Susie on that. Can I ask you about the ATAT? Because
Yeah, because you bought obviously the little ATAT with
Yeah.
can you
you.
get it up on the table, or is there not enough room
Yeah.
there? Do you want to just do that? Because our listeners and viewers are in for a treat, because this is, well, it's the childhood dream of so many people.
yeah, so they made the toy roughly this size for whatever it is, 3 3/4 inch scale, the little classic Star Wars figures,
Yeah.
and they made it in the 80s for Empire Strikes Back, I think, whenever that second movie that came out originally, and then they remade them again in the 90s, 2006, and again for Rogue One quite recently. So it's like multi-generational pop culture.
Yeah.
Like fathers and sons and grandfathers of all. Everyone knows what an AT-AT is, right?
Everyone loves an ATAT, don't
Everyone,
they?
even if you've not watched Star Wars, you know what it is because it's a piece of pop culture. But they never made one that walked. So they made the toy, but you had to move the legs with your hands. So there's the original TV ad. There's 2 kids trying to make it walk because they need 4 hands, and you put your hand inside to operate the head and everything. There was a toy by Thinkway that kind of walked, but had quite floppy legs, and it rotated its back legs like this to steer.
Right.
Which was a lot of money because those sorts of toys cost a lot. Anyway, so I was like, let's make one that's better that walks
And
with proper
turns.
robotics principles.
Yours turns, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and how did you work that out then, like, the turning thing?
Someone said in the computer game they turn, but I haven't seen it, and I'm not sure if it's like computer game physics are weird, so whether it's a bit hacky, I don't know. But I just worked out if we swing the legs, then we can pick up 2 legs and swing the others around, and then
It's fun.
and then pick up the next 2 and swing them to catch up.
And then you've gone a step further, and in your most recent video, as we're filming this podcast, you've made an ATAT that you can sit on. I mean,
Yeah.
this is an extraordinary video, I think it's fair to say. Was it one of your most challenging builds?
It's one of the longest ones. So I used to do weekly videos. I think this was a weekly or 2 weekly video. I've dropped back to try and do monthly so I can do bigger builds, but this was actually 2 episodes, so it was 2 months, which is one of the biggest ones I've done.
What was the challenge in that? Because obviously, was it a replica? I mean, it sounds a bit stupid as a question, but was it an exact replica of this that we're looking at here in front of us, this mini ATAT?
Sure. So the gearing assembly that you can see in the legs here with these half gears and this little gear that run, and these are parallelograms, and they track perfectly because the centre, if the big gear was a whole gear, the centre and the centre of the small gear is the same distance as the top of the parallelogram, which is something I worked out ages ago. So it's the same gear assembly in the leg,
Yeah.
but then they're much bigger motors and lots of bigger plastic gears, but a lot of it is 3D printed still.
You mentioned the 3D printing there, which obviously aids you a lot in everything that you do on your channel. But how much does that keep the cost down? So for example, can I just be rude and ask you, like, how much would it have costed to have made that ATAT that you could sit on?
So yeah, everything's sponsored, but if you actually wanted to make one, I think probably £3,000 or £4,000.
The sit-on one?
Yeah.
That's not too bad. It's
No,
like a small car.
however,
Have you been down the shops in it?
No, it does. Oh, so it only does 60 metres an hour.
So you need to live
At the
quite near the
moment.
shops.
I've got a plan to double it, but that's
and
still
have,
only
and have a couple of hours spare.
at double the speed. It would still only be 8% of 1 mile an hour.
Yeah. So
Do you
it's
think
not
the
a speedy
Empire?
process.
But I'm interested. Did the Empire encounter the same issues?
They were pretty slow AT-ATs, weren't they? I mean, it's the most ludicrous thing, really, to use in a battle. Obviously, even in the movie, they just fly around with a wire.
Which brings
pull
me
them
to my
down,
next
and that's
question.
Go on.
Well, I've got the drone.
Oh, okay.
If you're willing for me to try and fly a cable, that would be my dream. That's what I thought when I watched the video.
So I'm going to probably do an upgrades video next year where we make it go faster and put a body on that I can sit inside and maybe put some sort of weapons system on it. I don't know what. We did have like the little snowspeeder toy, and then my friend Matt Denton, who's another YouTuber, had it on a stick and he rode round in the video. So we got the snowspeeder eye view.
Shall we put our little ATAT to one side?
Sure.
So we can just stop obscuring the view. How do you choose your projects? What's the criteria behind you going, oh, I'm going to do this next?
Well, hopefully ones that do well. That's, my job is making things people will click on. So you have to think of what the thumbnail image will be in the title. Yeah. And then no one else has made an ATAT big enough to ride on, so you can't really fail.
So, and you do lots of, because I was going to say the person that you remind me most of is Colin Furze, right?
Oh, okay.
But of course,
that's a compliment, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, he's an absolutely amazing inventor. But you've actually shared videos with him on several occasions, haven't you?
I've done quite a few videos with Colin, yeah.
The two of you together. Have you been in his underground bunker?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. Is it as impressive as it looks on YouTube?
It's pretty good. I mean, the fact that it's in a 3-bedroom semi-house,
that's what makes it funny.
Semi-detached house, and not some place in Kensington,
Yeah.
Because he's got this car lift thing where he's going to have his car
coming out of the
ground. Like plenty of people have those, but not in a semi in a residential area. So
I love it, James. What I'm interested in is if you can give us a bit of an exclusive. Right, just a rough idea of some cool ideas that you might be working on in the future.
So what's coming up? We've got the Maker's Secret Santa again coming out for Christmas. I can't tell you what I'm making or who it's for because it's a secret, and I don't know who's making for me. But that goes around. There's 12 makers around the world. Big loop where we all make a present for each other. So that'll be going out on something like the 18th of December.
Ooh, okay.
And then next year, probably one of the first videos is going to be another omnidirectional bike. But instead
that's an exclusive.
Omnidirectional wheels, it's going to have balls.
Okay.
Like BB-8 type thing, are we talking?
Yeah, probably. You can buy these balls called walking globes, which are for circus performances, like a juggler
on
a ball.
Yeah.
So you can get the balls. There'll be 2 of those. And it's like a bike with balls. So it goes sideways as well, like the screw bike, but they're balls.
Yeah, cool.
It's not the riders that have got balls, but anyway, moving on.
Hey!
James, it's been just absolutely fascinating listening to you. Thank you so much for bringing your stories and your insight. It's been a joy.
No worries, thanks.
Absolutely brilliant.
And good luck with the Secret Santa.
Thanks,
I mean, that's the kind of Secret Santa that you want to know about, right?
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Good luck.